Minnesota Public Radio is sponsored by the Snooty Fox Tea Shop in Duluth, Minnesota. From herbal tea to green tea, turn our tea into your pee from Snooty Fox Tea Shop in Duluth.
Coffee and cigarettes.
Welcome back to Coffee and Cigarettes. My name is Libtard McDouche, and today's episode is a special one. It's going to be about gun control. I am joined today by ESPN sports analyst Stephen A. Smith. Mr. Smith, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much for having me, Mr. McDouche. As you know, ESPN no longer talks about sports, so I'm going to give you my first take on gun control.
Well, Mr. Smith, we are very excited to have you on the show, so let's get right into it. We have seen some pretty horrific mass shootings, especially in younger public schools in recent years. What do you think the schools should do to increase the safety of their students?
Now that is a great question. What did you have for breakfast this morning?
Well, I am vegan, so I had water and kale. How does this question relate to gun control, Steve?
I had a bowl of cereal today, and let me give you my take on Kellogg's Fruit Loops. Listen, Toucan Sam is a friend of mine. We took Baroque art history in class together at Dakota County Technical College. But I'd just like to say, the big three of Kellogg is clearly Snap, Crackle, and Pop. How can Toucan Sam say he's the MVP of Kellogg when clearly Rice Krispie and Rice Krispie Treat cereal contribute more to the quarterly earnings?
Well, thanks for sharing that information about Toucan Sam, Stephen. But let's get back to our topic of gun control today. Should there be more extensive background checks than there already are to purchase a firearm in the United States?
Well, after all the negative news reports I've heard in recent years, obviously something has to change. The Trix Bunny Rabbit is a friend of mine. We used to be assistants to the groundskeeper at Southern Hills Golf Course in Farmington, Minnesota. This rabbit needs to change his game. I have never seen such a pathetic attempt of a Lapurite trying to commit petty theft in my life. This rabbit is incompetent. He can never get the tricks. Stupid rabbit. Tricks aren't just for kids. Where do these kids get the money to get the tricks? Clearly, this rabbit needs to go to a grocery store. And he's never gonna outwit these children. General Mills needs to think about trading this guy. He's not going to help him get to the playoffs!
Well, Mr. Smith, General Mills is a great Minnesota company, but this is not related at all to background checks on gun control. What are your thoughts on America potentially doing what Australia did and taking guns from everybody in the country? I think it was a buyback program.
Mr. McDouche, a lot of people are wondering if King James can be the new team captain of the LA Lakers to bring them another championship. He really could use some tips from another captain of a different team, Captain Crunch of Team Quaker. He is a friend of mine. Me and Captain Crunch fought in the Navy SEALs alongside Jesse Ventura. We are veterans. Captain Crunch and Team Quaker clearly need to do some things. He is the only player on Quaker, just like LeBron James is the only player on the Lakers. And if Team Quaker wants to get to the playoffs, then they need to change something about Captain Crunch. I mean, his cereal has bits of glass in it, and yet people still buy it. You get out what you put in, Mr. McDouche.
I feel as though if people are putting in bits of glass in their mouth, that might hurt the roof of their mouth and their colon, which is why I only eat vegan foods. But again, last question about gun control. Do you think banning all semi-automatic firearms will reduce the number of mass shootings in this country? Or will people use other weapons to kill people?
Here's my final take, Mr. McDouche. As you know, Frankenberry is a close friend of mine since childhood. He donated his kidney to me when I had a kidney stone the size of a golf ball. What's the deal with Multi-Meal cereal? What kind of cereal comes in a plastic bag? Frankenberry and I had some Multi-Meal cereal after my surgery, and it was awful. Dear Multi-Meal, you have no stars on your team. You won't be making the playoffs. If you want to make the playoffs, you gotta do what Frankenberry did. He called on his friends, Count Chocula and Blueberry, and now they are the big three of the October cereals, and they are gonna be making the playoffs. Clearly, you gotta make some moves, Maltomio, in the offseason if you want to be competitive in this league. You can't just draft.
Well, I guess that's all the time we have for today. I'd like to thank Stephen A. Smith for coming on the show. Join us next time for another episode of Coffee and Cigarettes, but you still probably won't give a damn.